I'm Farah Remtulla, and I'm joined by one of my colleagues, Diana Keele. And we're here to talk to you about integrated risk management and how this framework can help organizations build stakeholder trust. We'll cover why trust is so important now more than ever and share our viewpoints on what integrated risk truly is and how ServiceNow can help. Diana, welcome. Great to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So, Diana, I think we've all seen over this last year that there's been rapid change. Organizations have had to react to the pandemic and other events, and digitizing has become at the forefront of every business. How are leaders thinking about integrated risk management or GRC today, and why is it so important now?
I think, our landscape is ever changing, and we've seen that firsthand, and having to be adaptive to it. And I think as, we look at across and working with our different stakeholders and CEOs and the C-suite leaders within these business units of integrated risk management, and really collectively, they are pressured to be more proactive and data-driven. And bringing solutions to the table. And through that and that risk management process, the digital effort of that is become, the forefront of their minds.
Great. So, risks are emerging. The landscape is it's always changed, right? And it's changed even more so. There's a lot of things that people have implemented. So tell me, how does that tie into integrated risk management, and what's KPMG's view?
So when we kind of really look at how do you do that, alignment of your cross-functional business units as part of that integrated risk management approach, we typically see, your compliance teams, your operational resiliency teams, third-party risk, alignment on your control frameworks in order to support the management of that risk is really aligning on those processes and how you're viewing them and the data that supports that. So that when you're rolling up and drilling down, it's concise.
So thanks for sharing that, Diana. When I hear you speak about all of the different business units and alignment, it really reminds me of somewhat of a team sport and how integrated risk across the enterprise involves all these different parties and bringing together all this data. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages of the ServiceNow platform. So with that, how does the ServiceNow platform really help and tie to building stakeholder trust?
Yeah, that's right. I think the digital aspect of that is huge, and utilizing platforms such as ServiceNow, I mean, it brings so many benefits. And I think, with the utilization for a lot of organizations, they already have it as an enterprise tool in other functions. And right away, we're seeing that from a cost reduction perspective, ability to tap into that, and really also you're benefiting from the cross-reference of shared data and leveraging that, especially around some of that supporting aspects within your controls and the core processes that you're centralized around as a business, and being able to share and leverage that and really speak one methodology and one terminology of that data. A lot of leaders struggle with is really the reporting and the ability to quickly aggregate and do that. And that's a real large strength of ServiceNow, is having all of your data centralized alleviates that, and building those relationships off of that, of what you're already utilizing from the platform perspective.
So given that, you have all these great benefits of the platform and have the ability to unify multiple groups who may already even be on the platform, and given that we're approaching integrated risk management as a team sport in some ways, where are organizations today? Diana, can you speak to maybe, are you seeing that more of them are coming together? Are their risk functions still siloed? And how have you helped bring them together and establish that culture or that trust culture?
So I think it's a little bit of both. We see people, in a varying kind of aspect, but a lot of them are all wanting to do better, right, and become more integrated. And for your respective organization, it might be a little bit of both. And sometimes, we've seen there is already alignment, maybe within core groups, within our SOX and audit, we see a lot more working together. But as you kind of start to open those floodgates of more business functions, really trying to drive alignment to manage that, one of our recent clients, we had the very similar problem that you just stated, Farah, of siloed, working together well in certain areas, but really moving towards fully integrated and the leveraging of one platform and sharing of information. And that kind of took a series of effects, right? And there was, from our perspective, the actions that were taken was really bringing all of your leaders together, alignment on what are your core processes and workflows, and breaking that down, and then kind of leveraging and opening the door to share each other's information, which then increased, frankly, what you mentioned, your trust within each other, right? And the data that you're sharing and the credibility that it now has versus, prior, where there was siloed tools and kind of passing of data that opened the door for questioning.
So you've taken us through kind of the strategy side, how to bring people together and agree and align on the strategy and vision for an integrated risk management function. You've certainly taken us through why it's important and why it's important now more than ever, given the rapidly changing risk profiles and dynamics. Could you maybe talk a little bit about the benefits you've seen across our clients? What have they seen? How has their experience changed? What are maybe some of the key metrics and really the return on value?
Yeah, I think the largest really is the ease of use of their process and their job. They're not having to jump into so many tools as before. When your controls are fragmented across multiple tools, it's cumbersome, right? And there's a training and learning curve to that. So you really start to limit that. You start to tailor your focus organizationally from an end user's perspective that really creates their world, makes their world a lot better. An additional benefit I think that we're seeing as well is really, what is it driving for the business of reducing your cycle time and, for example, internal audit, and being able to, have one control, test it once, use many, and you're able to kind of minimize that workload for your end users as well. And I think that's a huge one.
Okay, awesome. So really what you're enabling your users to do is shift their focus from being more reactive to being more proactively managing their risk organization by opening up that time and reducing that cycle time. So that's great. Thank you so much, Diana, for sharing your valuable experience with us. I think what we can all take away is that in this environment, it's really clear that establishing trust is more important now than ever, and leveraging an integrated risk management framework and treating this as a team sport across your enterprise is a key success factor for most organizations. We also learned that it's about bringing everybody to the table. It's about creating that culture of trust and approaching this in more than just a technical way, but in bringing people around a shared vision and a shared strategy. We also learned that we have great capabilities and accelerators in play that you all can leverage working with us. And I'm sure that you're happy to connect with any one of our viewers. So with that, I'd like to thank you once again.
Thank you, Farah.